What's going on, guys? So, I want to talk about a movie that I just watched called Beyond Skyline. This movie has been getting a lot of really good reviews. It was a sequel that not a lot of people saw coming, and I have the first one right here. The reason I have the first one right here is because before I even watched it, I wanted to refresh my memory on what Skyline was, so I went out and bought it. Same day. I went out and bought Skyline and Skyline 2 or Beyond Skyline on the same exact day, so I could have like a sit down and watch both of them, so I would know, hey, what am I watching? Even though I've seen Skyline before, but it doesn't hurt to have kind of like a refresh in your brain before you watch a sequel. And while Beyond Skyline is getting a lot of praise, it doesn't deserve it. Yes, the action is good, the actors are great. The writing is where the problem falls. I understand you're not gonna get this guy here, the guy who was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with Jessica Alba. You're not gonna get him to come back and do a role reprise. You're not gonna get him as Alien to come back. I mean, it's been almost 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. This is like 2010. So it's been about 9 years since this movie was first released. I mean, it's been almost a full decade since we even heard of Skyline. So we're looking at a long ass time between movies. So there were bound to be some problems. So let's break it down. This movie was rated PG-13. This movie was rated R. That is a big key difference. This movie, I believe, is only like an hour and 30 minutes. This movie is pushing close to 2 hours, and there are times where you feel that. Like, I mean, it just withdraws you completely. Now I understand you're also not going to get the girl who plays Ellie in this movie to come and be in this movie, and you're going to be able to tell the time difference because, again, you got about an 8-9 year, time difference between the movies, and due to that, they're not going to look the same. And unfortunately, Beyond Skyline happens at the exact same time as Skyline. The fact that that is the case opens a huge can of worms on why Beyond Skyline is not worth all the praise outside of the actors doing a great job, outside of the action being really good. The script and the amount of time between films are where this just falls apart and just take a huge part of the action and make you just go completely fuck out of it, okay? My recommendation for anybody who wants to watch Beyond Skyline, skip this movie completely. Just skip it. It's not a bad movie. Skyline is not a bad movie. I actually enjoy Skyline. But if you want to watch Beyond Skyline, skip Skyline completely. Don't bother with it. You don't need to watch it because I'm telling you, if you watch this movie, you will undoubtedly be you're going to be pissed, okay? Because they make a lot of the same exact moves in this movie that they do in this. Exact same. The exact same. Hell, it basically follows plot for plot for plot for plot almost an hour of the movie. And then when they write in Ellie and the guy from the first movie, you're so disappointed on how little detail is into that, even though it's the exact same time frame. You're just like, wow, what a way to just write them off as if their story meant nothing, even though the entire reason that movie was made was because this movie exists. Like, way to basically be like, fuck the first movie completely and act like it didn't happen. Even though this wouldn't even exist, it had this one not even. You know what I'm saying? Like, way to basically say fuck the first movie. And in my opinion, the first movie is by far a more superior film. I mean, imagine had Troy Duffy done that with the Boondock Saints. You feel what I'm saying to you? So, with that in mind, yes, everything done in this movie happens in this movie. And after everything in this movie happens in this movie, then you get to this movie actually being its own movie. Which means you have to make it through this movie again. Okay, I know that sounds really odd, but it's 100% true. The only difference is in Beyond Skyline, you're not waiting on the main protagonist lover to get their brain ripped out. You're waiting on the son. Spoilers, I'm sorry, but that's 100% true. You're waiting on someone important, sidekick to get their brain ripped out. That's what's happening here. And then as soon as that happens, again, falling in line with the first movie, if you've seen the first movie, this is not spoiling anything. If you've seen this, you know what happens. The brain goes into the alien. Following again, plot for plot. And then what happens after that? Well, in the first movie, it goes to credits. The movie's over. Not Beyond Skyline. Beyond Skyline, you don't know what happens to the brain other than it goes into an alien and it just goes into its own movie and own world. And you're like, what's going on? Why in the fuck is this happening? Well, it breaks away and explains what happened to Ellie and whatever her boyfriend's name was and her on the spaceship, and magically she's fixing to have a baby, and magically she wasn't supposed to have it for 6 months, even though in this movie she was just brand new pregnant. She wasn't 3 months pregnant. Hell, she was just found out she was pregnant. Again, great writing. Not really. So, spoilers, I'm sorry if you haven't seen it, spoilers. She gives birth to this baby, and the main protagonist guy, who has been in other movies like 2 Captain America movies, Winter Soldier, and Civil War, Frank Grillo, I think is how you say his name. He runs away with the baby after she has it because she dies of complications during birth because she's on the alien spaceship. He runs away with the kid because, again, the father is an alien. If you watched the first movie, you knew that. He ends up dying on the spaceship due to a distraction, so he can get off the ship. Spoilers. And they get the kid off the ship. Now, the kid is somehow magically mixed in with alien DNA somehow. They kind of touch on that a little bit, not really making a whole lot of sense because, again, the mother was only on the ship for like a few hours. But they say that they did something to her somewhere. Again, not really making a whole lot of sense there, but that's just what they did. There, like I said, the actors did really good. The action was really good, so that part of the praise was worth it. But the overall script and the writing is where I had the problem, because after that is where the movie started to become its own, and it started to fall in line again with the first movie once you found his son being the alien towards the end in the big fight scene finale, because he doesn't die. Spoilers, he doesn't die. But they have a big fight scene. They find some magic quote unquote cure, spoilers for the reason people are drawn to their blue light. They turn it a red, pink, or whatever. It's a red or a light red, pink color, because it's got something to do with the child um, and her blood. So that's the magical connection, by the way, between the two movies. It's a really weak connection. Um, Again, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't see it. I'm just going to say skip the first Skyline, because if you watch the first Skyline, you'll have a lot of problems with the second one. Because while watching it, I'm like, it's not bad. It's just the way they tried to play it off as the first movie and the second. It was so weak, just so weak. I couldn't believe they did that. Um, they did leave it open um, for a third installment in this. They did. They managed to. If they do make a third one, are they gonna say fuck Beyond and Skyline? Or are they gonna say fuck Beyond Skyline and fuck Skyline? Because they said fuck Skyline and Beyond Skyline. I mean, that's only gonna make sense. And are we gonna have to wait 8-9 years for that? And is it gonna happen unannounced, just like this fucking movie did? I'm just a little curious. And one other thing, this movie's like $15. And the odd thing about it is, you would think this would have had some kind of, any kind of features. It has none. The movie it made fun of has a shitload of features in comparison. You got commentaries, deleted scenes, alternate scenes, pre-visualizations, and whatever the fuck D-Box enabled is. This has absolutely none. What you get is, at the end of the movie, you get basically a bloopers. Way to make fun of a movie that has more options. Again, it was $15. If you want to go buy it, go buy it. I'm not going to say don't. I actually probably will watch it again. But it does irritate me to see that a movie that took 8 years to get a sequel has a sequel that is supposed to be in the same timeline fuck up so bad the one timeline that it's in. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.